What's up fam, QB here with Culturalist Theory, and we're gonna switch things up a little bit for you here today. We're ranking the top 15 singles produced by VA's finest production duo, the Neptunes. Seeing the vast array of artists they work with over the course of almost 30 years now, you're bound to see just about anyone on this list. No holds barred here, so spoiler alert, you may see an artist on this list more than once, and some not at all. A part 2 perhaps? So you know what to do. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you love it, and don't forget that super thanks button is right there, all right? Number 15, SWV, Use Your Heart. Simultaneously debuting alongside R&B trio Total on their self-titled early '96 record by way of When Boy Meets Girl, it wouldn't be until a few months later when the masses unknowingly caught wind of the sounds of the Neptunes. Like the Sisters with Voices' second album title indicates, Chad Hugo and Pharrell Williams were indeed at the cusp of a new beginning. More on what the sisters had going on in their albums ranking, which you can check out after this. Of the 2.5 contributions the Neptunes made to the SWV sophomore album though, the most important was the single Use Your Heart.
And watch them fly. Use your heart and not your eyes.
The laid-back groove was infectious, and not only do we get a slowed down sample that's a hip-hop community fave in the form of BT Express's If It Don't Turn You On, You Oughta Leave It Alone, but we also get to hear Taj's mic turn all the way up as she finally gets a bit of solo shine as well on the song's bridge. Remember Bridges? The track peaked at 22 on the Hot 100 and 6 on the R&B and hip-hop charts, the first of many chart hits for the VA natives. Number 14, Come Close, Common. How did Come Close find its way onto the list, you ask? Listen closely and you'll hear it immediately from Common Sense himself. It's just a fly love song.
Come close to me, baby.
Lonnie, Rashid, Lynn enlist Mary J. Blige to sing over this pared down track. And if you listen closely, you'll even hear Pharrell's vocals near the end. Presenting himself as an understanding and caring man that Erica turned him into at the time, the loving sentiments shared hit you right where they're supposed to. Common seals the deal in the saccharine sweet music video, pulling up on his lady's lawn at 10 a.m. sharp with a stack of posters to visualize his love. By the time he reaches the diamond ring card at the end, the pimp in him meets an instant death as the neighbors look on in awe. And just that easily, we have a classic track on an album that got next to no love from fans, following the stellar like water for chocolate. We won't try to convince you otherwise about said album, but at least the single manages to do fairly well on the charts, just outside the top 20 on the hip hop and R&B side, and just inside of it when it came to hot rap tracks. As for the J Dilla remix with Badu, Q-Tip, and a verse from Skateboard P, there's a reason that most of you may be today years old finding out about its existence. Number 13, Lap Dance, Sky Mob Rock Mix, NERD. You had to know that there's gonna be at least one track here where the spotlight would be turned on themselves, right? The 2001 video version of Lap Dance uses the original style of the Neptunes music. However, we're specifically targeting the re-recorded rock version featuring Spy Mob for NERD's 2002 stateside release, In Search Of. Aren't these guys so selfless in allowing unknown silent member Shay Haley to grace the cover? And this is just a carefree rock out till you drop out joint that's senseless fun. Bar fights, baseball bats, and strippers. I mean, what else could you ask for when you're looking for a good time? The live guitars and drums really help drive this one home. It also features raps from a guy named Lee Harvey, all in the name of white trash. His direct words. Vita did the hook here for what we can only assume was a change of pace from using go-to girl Kelis, a worthy replacement when seeking a mix-up from their overall output. Number 12, Hollaback Girl, Gwen Stefani. While it's a fact that both Gwen Stefani's solo debut and Destiny's Child final album dropped in the same week of November 2004, containing hit singles backed by energetic marching bands, that's where the similarities between the pair ceases. The Dark Child produced Lose My Breath is more up-tempo and sexually suggestive, but still tame, especially by today's standards. Whereas this uncharacteristically sounding Neptunes production here. And even if you can't stand the curved yellow fruit, the easy to sing along hook meshed with Stefani's spirited quips will certainly get you fired up, even if by the end of the song, you remain clueless as to what the hell a Hollaback Girl still is.
'Cause ain't no Hollaback girl, ain't no Hollaback girl.
She goes all in with the marching band theme, donning various cosplay outfits in the related music video, which nabbed the best choreography win at the 2005 MTV VMAs. This girl even managed to knock G-Unit leader 50 Cent's Candy Shop down from a 9-week run atop the Billboard 100, claiming the spots for 4 consecutive weeks. Hopefully she enjoyed that run and its 6-time platinum status, because she hasn't replicated it since. Whoever was biting the dust, it certainly wasn't Gwen or the Neptunes this go round. Number 11, You Don't Have to Call, Usher. If Forget That Girl was a song, You Don't Have to Call would be it. Penned by Pharrell, this track was originally intended for Michael Jackson of all people. We don't know about y'all, but we certainly couldn't imagine Mr. Moonwalk belting out this song.
Don't leave your girl around me, true player for real. That's my
But with the power of AI now out in the world, who knows, right? When this situation had arisen, Usher picked up MJ's fumble and carried this single all the way to a third straight Best Male R&B Vocal Grammy win in 2003. It was just as inescapable as his prior singles, You Remind Me and You Got It Bad, in the second half of 2001, peaking at number 3 on the Hot 100 and number 2 on the hip hop and R&B charts. The production is rather simple here, but has managed to age well, just like Usher's vocals throughout. Being this one emerged during a time when music videos were cinematic, it loosely continued the theme set by You Got It Bad with a cameo from Buff Daddy, P Daddy, or whatever he's calling himself, Love, and a flashback of girlfriend at the time, Rosanda Chili Thomas. If only Mike Jack had met him in the parking deck for a new age dance battle to help him get over his lost PYT. Number 10, Paso Courvoisier, Part 2, Busta Rhymes. Okay, so Part 1, the initial album version of the track, produced by Knots and featuring Diddy, was good enough, but Pharrell and Chad were quickly learning from their elder remix master and flipped the original version over on its head for this radio scorching hit. With a whole new set of lyrics and production, how often do you get that these days, and the addition of vocals from Pharrell, it's essentially a brand new song that's only connected by mention of the brown liquor. The song was so good that in later pressings of the Genesis album, it replaced the throwaway track Ass on Your Shoulders. Can you imagine the ire of all the early adopters? Thank goodness for the modern day streaming services where it's readily available in all its unedited glory. The visuals are equally pleasing as a 3-man trio along with a host of cameo figures reimagine a classic scene from Harlem Nights. Be it in the vein of Busta Rhymes, Criss Cross, House of Pain, or whoever else, repeated playbacks of this song will most certainly make you wanna. Number 9, La La La, Excuse Me Miss, Remix, Jay-Z. The original single, coming from one of Jay-Z's weakest efforts, The Blueprint 2, The Gift and a Curse, was tailor-made for the suits. If you missed said popular track or his memo on how ill he is via Beyonce's Crazy in Love, then consider this remix for the streets as a not-so-gentle reminder. Tucked away on the Bad Boys 2 soundtrack, Pharrell is limited to ad-libs this time around, with Hov back on his slick-talking freestyling shit in preparation for what was going to be his swan song.
Look but don't touch, motherfucker, think twice, cause I got that I clutch, got a little red light, need a light.
If you take nothing else away from this collection of songs, know that there's an overarching love for the 3 G's. That's the Glamorous Life, Guns, and Gluteus Maximus. While Mystical and Nelly got the last one on lock, Jigga's covered the other 2 subjects in full here on this banger of a Neptunes track. Also, can't forget about the inspiration from the late Luther Vandross across the hook. Thoughts of creeping on the come up through Jay leads to Judge Mathis style callouts of being crack head, crack out. So it's best you just don't even go there. Nor back to the album version of this track. Number 8, Super Thug, Noriega.
Yo, Neptunes, the way they lace the beat like one of the best.
Now that's how you show your producers some love. Literally spell their name out at the end of the track and declare them the best. Super Thug was the first time that most people who didn't buy CDs and tapes knowingly heard anything from this new pair of guys producing tracks straight out of Virginia. All you had to hear was the blaring of that phone in the intro to know you're about to get a barrage of layered what chants from Nori and the same Tammy Lucas, who was the hook supplier for Tribes once again, and Heavy's Is It Good to You. Good thing the beat and hook are so dope as they are, being they carry the song more so than Nori's bars. He said his last jam was an 8, this one is a 10, but by the placement on this list, you know exactly how we feel about that statement. Till this day, it remains his lone chart-topping single, and that was a big enough spark to push the Super Thug turned podcasters and the Neptunes career far past the late 90s. Lots of people have gotten various amounts of product from the VA duo, but only 2 have had complete albums worth of music from them. That would be the Thornton Brothers, Gene and Terrence, better known as Eclipse, and Kelis Rogers. Seeing the trajectory of the Neptunes production song after song, you would think that these artists would have been on multicolored road to more money and more stardom. And while they both experienced varying degrees of success, it was Kelis who felt that she got the short end of the stick during her time with them. We'll leave a link in the description for you to hear it directly from her, because we certainly couldn't do it justice. But either way, we did get quite a few classics with Kelis on the hook of those Neptunes tracks, with some of our favorites being Old Dirty Bastard, Got Your Money, Busta Rhymes, What It Is, Foxy Brown, Candy,
I taste just like candy. So dance with me. I taste just like candy.
and Crazy Bone, I Don't Know What.
Doesn't it feel good to see us make money? Feel good. Look, every day sunny. Feel good to see us taking on.
We're sure you guys have have some of your own personal favorites with Kelis on the hook, so bust them out for us down in the comments. And now, back to the countdown. Number 7, Southern Hospitality, Ludacris. You want a hit? Give him an hour, a pen, a pad, and a candy-painted card to write in. Helping a lot of artists in their beginning stages, Christopher Bridges took a trip up the I-95 to meet the budding team of producers for some heat to add to his forthcoming album, Back for the First Time. And although he wasn't too sure about his hit potential while in the midst of creating this 5-minute selection of Southern Hospitality, heads down south and everywhere else in America were, as this and lead single What's Your Fantasy peaked at the 5 slot on the rap singles chart. Surely Luda's energetic and exaggerated flows made you want to get up and drop bows on the person next to you, because this is fight music for high school kids, or whatever Marshall Mathers said. It's perplexing why Ludacris opted to call this single Southern Hospitality, because the music doesn't have any typical down south elements, and lyrically on one end he says,
"You a pimp and you know you don't love them hoes,"
while on the other says,
"Pretty ass hoes, oh how I love these pretty ass hoes."
Chalk it up to a classic case of contradicting thoughts that's left out here for culturalists like us to comb over. While it wouldn't be many years later before him and the boys would have a #1 hit together, nothing hits your eardrums quite like the way this first one does. Number 6, I Just Wanna Love You, Give It To Me, Jay-Z. When going into the studio for the first time with new producers, you never know what the outcome is going to be. Well, something special must have been in the air when the Neptunes and J-Hove connected, because this first single from the 5th solo album was an instant hit. It hailed as the first chart topper for Chad and Pharrell, and second one, stateside at least, for the Jigga Man. The first being Jigga My Nigga, if you can believe that. Did it help that the lead in verse was taken straight out of his homie Biggie Smalls' notebook, while also mentioning the late Tupac Shakur? Maybe. Or it could have been just the timeless ear candy the Neptunes put together with Pharrell and Emilio Sparks back and forth on the hook. Whatever it is, it all just works here perfectly and is one of the many staples in Jay's catalog. The video was equally as fun, sporting appearances from Beans, Kim, Cease, Dash, and the late John Witherspoon, among others. Britney Spears pegs this song as one that made her want to book some studio time with the Neptunes herself, which led to 2001's Slave for You. Don't blame it on us being broke college students that didn't grow up in NYC, but have any of you out there ever seen or heard anyone rocking Phil Mark jeans before or since the name drop in this song? Number 5, Grindin', Clips. If you thought that the grind was only going down in New York City, LA, or the south side of Chicago, Malice and Pusha T emerged from the tourist city of Virginia Beach, VA, to let the world know that that's far from reality. Like the duo Das Effects from a decade prior, the way these brothers' lines flow between one another is damn near seamless, and only upon multiple listens will you be able to discern which one of them is on the mic. When these young brothers were riding in Daddy's old school with the 8-track, Curtis Mayfield's Pusha Man was most certainly an influence that you can hear off jump. Yep, that's right. Cocaine rap is the name of the game on this stripped down, bass heavy track that begs you to turn it up just a little louder than you should. The way they subtly but not so subtly rhyme about moving weight is refreshing.
Rhymes about family, never been about fame. Them days I wasn't able, there was always Kane.
Yeah, these brothers are unquestionably sick with their pens. For additional flavors, the album included 2 remixes, one with Nori, Lil Wayne, and Birdman, the other with Sean Paul, Cardinal Official, and Bless. But the one thing that never changed is that top tier backdrop. Number 4, Beautiful, Snoop Dogg. Is this the same Snoop Dogg who stood 10 toes down a decade prior proclaiming that bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks? Nah fam, it couldn't be. Well, your ears don't deceive you. One of hip-hop's most infamous misogynists of the 90s has matured and is also responsible for one of the best songs celebrating love for the ladies. But don't get it twisted, the dog still reps the blue side while asserting his position to bite anyone foolish enough to pursue his lady. Mercifully, he left the hook duty to the vocal half of the tunes alongside Mr. Oops Upside Your Head, Charlie Wilson himself. Collectively, they're a triple threat that's pretty tough to top. The thrice Grammy-nominated track took home the win for Non-Classical Producer of the Year during the 2004 season and a VMA nod for the Best Hip Hop Video in 2003. Needless to say, but we're gonna say it anyway, this was by far the more revered single to drop from Pay the Cost to Be the Boss. The other one being From the Church to the Palace, which ironically enough was also produced by the Neptunes. This budding partnership with them has gone on to be equally as essential as his pairing with Uncle Charlie over the years. And now it's time to run through 5 honorable mentions that just barely missed our list. We're gonna let the music do the talking, or as much as we can get away with here on YouTube before catching a strike.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours.
What you wanna do? What you trying to do? Oh, think about it, boy, leave her alone.
Drop down and get your eagle on, girl. Drop down and get your eagle on, girl. Hell no, ain't leaving me alone, girl. Drop down and get your eagle on, girl.
Be your girl.
Zagaza, Zagaza.
Number 3, Shake It Ass, Mystical. The 90s had Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back as his quintessential booty banger, but a post-No Limit era Michael Tyler was ready to kick off Y2K with his own booty bop for the new generation. Remember how we said that Nelly and Mystical have the subject of the Gluteus Maximus covered? Well, after summoning that pair of newcomers who've been making a buzz in the industry, the fruit of their labor was none other than Shake It Ass, or Shake It Fast as it was heard on the radio and video shows of the time. Another instant hit and artist staple, Mystical was actually a bit reluctant to make this his lead-in single from his fourth studio album. Of course, hindsight has proven without a doubt that it was the right call. Songs about fat backs over fat ass beats never gets old, and before it could gather any dust, Shake It Ass was being featured here or parodied there. Here's a quick clip of one of the most memorable.
Shake your ass, watch yourself. Shake your ass. Show me what you're working with.
Project Pat was another one who famously bit from this plate just a year later for some more down south junk in your trunk appreciation on Ooh Nothing. Pharrell was quickly building a reputation for singing the hooks on his own productions, and like many of them, they just feel right. Even those gals out there with those small booties won't be able to resist shaking what their mama gave or didn't give them to this classic track. Number 2, Hot in Here, Nelly. The numbers generated by this joint, as in 2 million sales in the US alone and topping the Billboard 100 for the first time, indeed concurred with the sentiments of it being hot in here. The sounds on this single generate instant feelings of wanting to let it all hang out, bust it loose, or however else you can describe the art of getting down to your birthday suit.
Getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes.
And we say, mission accomplished, Nelly? By this point, it was crystal clear that having the Neptunes behind your next single was a gaslight you needed to have a better chance of standing out. Everything else was up to the artist on the mic to make it a decent hit for the time or career-defining statement that gets chosen to be on TV shows like Don't Forget the Lyrics. It remains a mystery why uncredited vocalist Danny Stevenson never took the opportunity to further her own career off of this one. But nevertheless, playing Hot in Here on repeat nowadays is still guaranteed to turn any party out, encourage you to dance, shout, or just have a damn good time. And maybe, just maybe, increase your chances of cutting that doesn't involve a public restroom. See what the late shock G done started. Number 1, Drop It Like It's Hot, Snoop Dogg. Most people at this point only need to hear the first 2 seconds of that bass drum to immediately identify that it's about that time to
drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot.
And yeah, we already know that Snoop is one of the smoothest flowing gangsters on the mic, but were you expecting to get a whole entire verse from one of the guys behind the boards that's actually not half bad? Yep, Skateboard Pete keeps a few bars in his back pocket that he likes to pull out every now and then. After that, Big Snoop Dogg covers the hook and final 2 verses over another sparse track similar to the Clips' Grindin'. Don't be surprised if you see one of the brothers and Snoop's offspring make cameos in a related video either. Arguably, the D.O.G.'s most popular song of the 2000s, if not of all time, Drop It Like It's Hot is cool as fuck personified and easily digestible in hip-hop form for the masses. Simple as that. Ringtones, sold them, charts, topped them, influences, countless. Matter of fact, once we wrap up here, go and find that Pocket Like It's Hot video, as a big boss himself hawks the microwavable snacks that kids and adults alike buy in bulk to the tunes of millions.
Hungry kids in the crib, ma. Pocket like it's hot, pocket like it's hot, pocket like it's hot.
But don't tell Martha. Alright, how do we do? Let us know your favorite Neptunes tracks. Do we have enough for a part 2? Which other producers do you want to see us cover? Comment below. And don't worry, you don't have to go home. We've got more rankings for you, including the aforementioned FWB, Usher, Snoop, and Jay-Z. Shit, almost all of them. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll be notified of our latest and greatest list. Once again, this is QB for Culturalist Theory. Till next time.